Hey guys, Saint here, and I'm going to be doing the patch 6.3 rundown. So let's start it. Let's see, we got Mark of the Assassin now does 40 energy at all ranks, instead of just having to rank it up, per level. I don't really think that's gonna do that much for Akali. Like, yeah, you get more energy returns, so you can do like better extended trades, but I think that I don't know. I feel like exhaust and everybody being able to have like free sweeper wards or sweeper trinkets and pink boards being so cheap now, just kind of like you kind of hit Akali really hard, and that's one of the reasons, or a couple of the reasons why she's actually not played that much anymore. So like these small buffs, like to her energy and her shadow dance dash speed, are not really gonna like make her relevant or a viable champion. Like, I'm sure she like works great in solo queue still, just because people are still too stupid to buy pink wards sometimes, or even like get an upgraded sweeping trinket. But yeah, I think Akali's just still like not that great of a champion. Alistar is super OP right now in this current patch. He's actually like ban pick in many competitive games, and he actually has a really high solo queue win rate in high elo. And it's just because he can do everything. He's like a super safe. He can tower dive. He can heal your ADC. He can play passive. He can play aggressive. He can set up plays. He can tank objectives. Like he does pretty much everything that you could ever ask out of a support. So I think right now he's a really amazing champion. And Riot basically made it to where you can't even mess up the headbutt pulve combo anymore, because if you headbutt and just press pulve at any point, it won't actually use the pulverize until it reaches the target. So you can just mash WQ like as fast as you want, and you'll still always get the headbutt pulve combo off. So I guess people with high ping, this is going to help them out a lot, but I think the combo is pretty easy to do. I mean, everybody still messes it up sometimes. Like, I still mess it up sometimes myself, and I've actually seen it messed up a bunch of times in the LCS, so I think this will help all those people out. And then Triumphant Roar, they made it cost 10 more mana, and they added 4 seconds to the cooldown. I think for laning, this isn't going to be that big of a deal. Maybe the mana will hurt a little bit, but if you're playing Alistar properly, you shouldn't be like trading that hard anyways. So I think the heal is still going to be, it's pretty much like the same thing. Like, it actually didn't get nerfed that much. Like, especially if you're like healing when minions are dying around you, then you'll still be able to get off the heal pretty well. So I think Alistar is like a little bit weaker because of this Triumphant Roar nerf, but I think he's still just an overall great champion. Corki is actually really high pick ban right now because he's a flex pick, and he does magic damage in the bot lane, and he just also scales super hard in the mid lane. So I think he was really OP before these changes. So this kind of just it kind of like nerfs Corki's laning a little bit. And I mean, 30 damage like in a team fight or a mid to late game fight on Phos bombs is not going to make or break Corki. So I don't think that is that big. And then the Missile Barrage cooldown for the recharge is 10 seconds instead of 8. Like, I don't think that's that big a deal either. Maybe like in an extended trade or like in a poking situation, but I think overall, like, Corki got nerfed a little bit, but I think he's still going to be a really great champion and a really great flex champion. So I think Corki's still just overall good, even with these changes. Echo, they made Time Winder have a lower cooldown at the earlier ranks. There's actually a couple of people I've been seeing playing a lot of Echo jungle and Challenger elo. There's like 2 or 3 people who actually main him exclusively that are decently high Challenger right now. So I think Echo jungle with the new Runic Echoes and Strength of Ages is actually not bad. Like, I don't really like playing it personally, but I definitely see the strengths in it, especially if you have setup. So I think Echo's like actually a pretty decent pick right now. And I think Huni also played it top lane in the LCS as well as a counter to Maokai. So Echo's always been pretty decent against tanks, and pretty much a lot of melee matchups that can't outright like burst him, or like lock him up and burst him. So I think Echo's like, he could actually be pretty decent in the jungle right now. Like, especially this lower cooldown on his Q. This is going to help out his jungle clear a lot. So I'd expect to see a lot of jungle Echoes popping up with these changes, and I think he's actually a pretty decent champion right now. Gragas is like still a good champion, but he suffers from the problem of he can't clear the jungle that fast compared to like all the relevant meta junglers like Elise and Graves and Nidalee, who are all like fast jungle clearers, and so he just kind of gets left behind and just outpaced and out-tempoed throughout the game. So I think with these changes to where you can AoE now with your Drunken Rage. So pretty much like if you're doing the Wolf camp or something, or the Blue, or Raptor camp, any of those like multi-pack camps, this is gonna light it clear like a lot faster, because now your Drunken Rage on hit now deals damage to everything around it. So this is gonna add a little bit to his clear speed, and on top of that, the channel time is also a little bit lower, which is gonna help you, you know, weave in more auto attacks as well. And then the slow on barrel roll is just 2 seconds. You don't have to like sit there and let it sit, you know, for the 1 second or whatever for it to prime up. So now you can just like throw the barrel if you want and like instantly get the 2 second slow. So I think this is going to make Gragas a little bit better for chasing people as well. I think Gragas will actually be a pretty good pickup in the next patch. This is assuming that he actually does have a decently fast clear speed. And I'm not sure if I do Q max or W max. I'd have to like fool around with it, but I think both are probably pretty viable. And actually, there's a guy in Korean Challenger that plays exclusively AP Gragas jungle. So, and I think he's like 400 or 500 points. So, I mean, if he can make it work, then I think it's a pretty decent pick. Graves is super OP on this current patch. So for the new patch, they kind of just like nerfed the living shit out of everything about him. Like Graves can no longer interrupt the 0.25 second recoil after his basic attacks with Q into the line or R collateral damage. So that means you can't like animation cancel and chase people down with Swifties as easily. And also into the line now does a lot less damage. It's like what, 70 damage or something like that. So it's pretty close to 70 damage at max rank, which is a decent amount of burst and is also going to hurt his backline clearing. But I think even with this nerf, Graves will still he'll still be like fine in lane and fine doing his job. And then quick draw, they just fixed a bug on it. Fixed a bug where casting quick draw would interrupt Graves' reload animation. Graves will remember his last attack movement command after using quick draw. So that's just kind of like some quality of life fixes right there. I think with these nerfs, Graves will still be a pretty decent champion. He'll still have a fast jungle clear, and he'll still also be a pretty good top laner as well. He actually has a lot of good top lane matchups even with this nerf. So I think Graves is still going to be overall a really, really top-notch champion even after this. Lowy, this champion is garbage. Just please don't even look at her. Like, just get her away from me, man. Kog'Maw, Rapid Spittle no longer passively grants Kog'Maw bonus attack speed, so now there's pretty much no point to max Q at all, I think, or even put points into it until like way later. Maybe you can put 1 point into it to last hit and to like poke a little bit. And then now W now grants Kog'Maw 15, 20, 25, 30, 35% bonus attack speed, and now deals at least 15 bonus magic damage at all ranks. So I think W or E are going to be the things you want to max on Kog'Maw now, and I think this could actually be a decent change. I have to see. The one of the real problems with Kog'Maw right now, though, is his builds are so weird, and he attacks so fast that it's like mechanically really hard to effectively kite with that much of attack speed while accurately, you know, targeting the right people and weaving abilities in there. So I think Kog'Maw's just kind of like hard to play, and also his laning is a little bit harder as well. It's like harder to do the trades with him. But I think because you can max W now and actually get something out of it, I think Kog'Maw could be showing up more in the end as a hybrid kind of like half, you know, like sort of like a Corki role where you're doing the magic damage for the team. Like if you have an 80 heavy team comp, maybe you could pick Kog'Maw and put him in the bot lane if Corki's banned. So I could see Kog'Maw popping up next patch. Jax, they pretty much just like changed the way his stacks work. Like, yeah, it gives a little bit more attack speed if you have it fully stacked, but you have to get more stacks now. So I mean, pretty much before, if you fought a 6-stack Jax, you're probably gonna die anyways. So I don't really think that the 6 or 8 stack thing. Like, yeah, it's harder to get the stacks, but I mean, if Jax is gonna kill you before, he's probably gonna still kill you. You know, with the like, he's still just gonna kill you. Like, if you're caught alone with Jax to the point where he can just get there and auto you a bunch of times, you're probably dead anyway. So this doesn't really change Jax that much. Poppy's a really popular champion right now. She actually has the highest competitive win rate right now. I think at like 60%. So they basically nerfed her Q damage by 40. 20 on each cycle of the damage. It does before it do 160, 160. Now it's going to do 140, 140. And it no longer does reduce damage to minions, so it'll actually give you some, you'll still have the same wave clearing potential that you had with Poppy before and the same pushing power. Heroic Charge has a 2-second longer cooldown now, which is pretty good because if you had max CDR before a Poppy, you could just like perma-stun people, which is ridiculous. And then Keeper's Verdict also is a 0.5 second less knockup. So I think these changes, Poppy will be a little bit weaker, but I think overall she'll still do the same role that she does before, where she's just kind of like a soft engage, or where she can like flash knock people up with her ultimate and set up like a heroic charge play into the wall or something. She's still like a bruiser type top laner that has a lot of good matchups, so I think she'll still be pretty good. Rengar, they nerfed the crap out of him last patch. And they just kind of did some quality of life bullet changes. I still think Rengar is just garbage now. I don't even want to like look at this because, yeah, Rengar's just poop. They killed him, man. They killed him. Ryze, I think this is the nerf that's going to put Ryze into the ground. Like, I talked to some people about this, and they said Ryze will still be, like, sort of okay sometimes. Like, his mid-game will still be fine because, you know, his ultimate cooldown's so short. It's 50 instead of 80 in the first rank, which is actually really big. You can if you have blue buff, you can pretty much use your ult every single time a wave comes up to mid. So you can be full health all the time. Like, you can't be poked out if you have blue buff. But your passive is just going to be a lot weaker. Like, you can only cast 5 spells inside your passive now, so it's going to be a lot harder for you to perma-CC people and to, like, kill tanks that you have to do extended rotations on. So I personally think Ryze will be a lot weaker, but some people think that he'll be still an okay pick sometimes. Xin Zhao now gets more, his heal now scales with 0.2 bonus attack damage, and now passively causes every third attack to critically strike for 75% bonus crit damage for that attack, and now E is 12-second cooldown at all ranks. So if you're playing Xin Zhao, you're probably not going to max E anymore. That'll probably be like one of the last things you max, because, you know, all you really maxed it for before was the cooldown and like having a little bit more burst damage. So I think now people they're probably just going to max either the Q or the W. If I had my guess, it'd probably be the Q, and then probably max W second. But I still think Xin Zhao is just not that great of a champion because he has no escape mechanic, and he doesn't really have that many outplay mechanics outside of his ultimate. So I think you probably won't see much Xin Zhao unless like somehow somebody finds some ridiculously broken build with him. I just wouldn't. I don't think you'll see any Xin Zhao. Like maybe in the lower elos, but I don't think you'll see him in competitive or anything like that. Zed, they nerfed his ultimate by 5% at all ranks, and this is just mainly because they added a new item that we'll talk about later. This is definitely a justified nerf because with the new item, Zed will probably just kill every single person in the game and be just incredibly broken. Ziggs, they made his ultimate do 100 more damage, whoop-de-doo-dah, and at a higher rank, and also have 0.2 more AP ratio, so it'll do a little bit more damage. But if you're hitting somebody on the outside edges, it'll do a little bit less damage as well. So you actually need to hit people like dead on with it to do the big damage now. I think Ziggs won't really be that popular. I mean, I think it's like a nice change, but with the popularity of assassins that we're about to talk about, I don't think Ziggs is going to be played at all. Like, assassins just shit on Ziggs, so good luck seeing some Ziggs in your games. And this is the reason why, because the Dust Blade of Drakthar, wow, what a name. It builds out a serrated Dirk and BF sword and 850 gold. It costs a decent amount, 3250, and it gives 75 attack damage, so it's the same as like any of the BF sword items. It gives 5% bonus movement speed, which is pretty nice, and it gives 10 flat armor pen. But which is all like great stats for assassins, like on a Talon or a Zed or any of those kind of like, you know, bursty assassins. Like these are all great stats, like super good. Like even Jarvan. It's good stuff, but what really makes it great is your basic attack on enemy champions apply Nightfall. So what Nightfall does is after 2 seconds, Nightfall deals physical damage equal to 90 plus 25% of the target's missing health. If you kill or assist on the target before Nightfall detonates, the cooldown is refunded. So that means that if you're Zed and you drop somebody to even like 60% health with a rank 3 ultimate, which is pretty much like one auto attack or a Q, you will instantly kill that person with Nightfall plus your ultimate. Same thing with Talon. Like if you even hit somebody with half your combo on Talon, and you have this 25% of the target's missing health, you'll probably instantly kill that person. Or like Jarvan. So it has great stats for assassins, and it's going to add so much burst potential to killing squishy targets. I think it's going to be like the rise of the assassin or something. Like just watch out for Talon mains and Zeds everywhere. It's going to be disgusting. And of course, to counter that, Riot buffed the Seeker's Arm Guard a little bit by giving it 5 more armor, but I don't think that's going to save you from this Duskblade item because it seems ridiculous. Warden's Mail, it has 100 gold cheaper, not that big a change. Dead Man's is 100 gold more expensive, and the Crushing Blow is 25% less slow, still not that big a change. Sunfire Cape now pushes 50% faster, whoop-de-doo-dah. I think Sunfire Cape's in a pretty good spot right now on some champions. I actually like it a lot. on certain champions. It's good for, you know, pushing and also like extended trades. So I think Sunfire is pretty decent. And Random Omen costs 100 gold less and gives 50 more health, so it's actually the same price as Dead Man's Plate, and it gives the same amount of health. So generally you would want to get Random Omen. They have a lot of crit champions like Gangplank or, you know, like an auto attack ADC or something like that. Or even a Yasuo. So that's the one you would get Randoms over Dead Man's Plate. I think Randoms is in a pretty good spot right now. Decent item. This shard thing does 10 more damage. Like the shard is like useless. Like get this thing out of here. Like that doesn't do anything. Movement speed on rapid fire cannon is 5% instead of 7% now. It also does 50 to 160 damage instead of 50 to 200. So this is an overall nerf to the item. Still think it's okay, but I actually don't think many people are going to build rapid fire cannon as much anymore. I think in a lot of cases people would rather build static shiv because this 50 to 120 damage can actually critical hit and it can also AoE. So generally I think I'd rather build static shiv over rapid fire cannon in a lot of cases. But what I would actually really rather buy in place of static shiv and rapid fire cannon, I think I'd build Phantom Dancer every single time, no matter what, because of the damage reduction. Like, yeah, these items give wave clear. Like, if you need wave clear on your team comp, maybe I get these items. But Phantom Dancer, I think, is the best item overall because it's cheap now. It's 25.50, and it gives much needed damage reduction and has a lot of movement speed when an assassin is after you. So I think Phantom Dancer is definitely going to be the way to go, and I don't think anybody's going to build anything besides Phantom Dancer. Phantom Dancer, OP. Boots of Swiftness costs 100 gold more. I think it's justified. Boots of Swiftness are way too OP. Same with Lucidity Boots, 100 gold more, too OP. Boots of Mobility were also super cheap. And they increase the out-of-combat movement speed. I still think I'd get Swifties over Boots of Mobility in a lot of cases, just because I really value the slow reduction on Boots of Swiftness and the in-combat movement speed. So maybe sometimes I get Mobies on certain champions, but I like Swifties a lot of times. Dragon, they changed a little bit. The second stack now makes your basic attacks burn turrets for 10 to 180 damage over 2 seconds. The main change for that means that supports can actually do good damage to turrets as well as tanks. So it's going to make supports and tanks a lot better at pushing if you have the second stack. In Dragon's Dominance, you take 20% less damage from turrets instead of 15% damage to monsters and minions, which means before you'd have better wave clear and faster Baron and, you know, objective control with this. But now what it's going to give you is just the ability to dive turrets, which is like pretty nice. Like, I'd rather have this than this if I'm trying to close the game out. This is something I'd want for, like, early on in the game if I'm trying to hold out. And I think that's pretty much it. Like, it's a pretty long patch rundown. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.